Hello, people. How you doing today? Okay, let's wait for some people to get in here, and I'll tell you what's going on with Danny. Hopefully, he'll be here today, maybe a little bit late, or from the hospital, but I'll let you know that shortly. Danny and I have been discussing of doing a certain show today, and then all of a sudden, everything took a turn. Paul Tanso called me, and he wanted to get some facts out there about what's going on with him and Bobby Luisi. And we're going to discuss that. But let me make one thing perfectly clear. Just because Paul Tanzo says this doesn't make it true. Anytime during the show, if Bobby Luisi wants to jump in and give his version of it, if Bobby Luisi wants to get a hold of me and do it by phone, we're more than welcome to do it. So basically, Bobby Luisi, you've been a guest on his show before, but we're going to talk about what Paul says because Paul feels like he hasn't been getting the opportunity to give his piece. So to be fair to him, we'll let him give his piece. And it's up to you guys to decide what you think. Okay, I'm going to go over some of the people that are here right now until we get more people in here. Nico's here. Nico, I gave you a wrench if you're still here. Miss Can't Be Wrong, Rusty Shackelford, Xavier James. Now, I'm going to read some of Xavier James' remarks. Xavier James seems to hate my guts, but he wants to come here. So what we're going to do to prove something to Xavier, as long as he doesn't get totally disrespectful, don't throw him out. He's an angry young man. I know who it is. So I'm just going to put it up here, and I'm going to read a couple things he has to say, and I'm going to answer what he has to say. Because on this show, we don't block you unless you 100% deserve it. Anybody can come in here. Anybody can jump up here. It's that simple. Okay, Xavier says, Lee never been in streets in his life. He held like a female against their will. Their will. First of all, there is spelt wrong. And you shouldn't even be her will, not their will, or something. That's how he got his charge. Okay. Never in my life do I have any charges pending, any charges on my record of kidnapping. None. Did I get arrested for it in the beginning before it got dropped because it wasn't true? Absolutely. Never went to court, never plea bargained out. I was never charged with it because it wasn't true. And the person that they claimed I kidnapped, I wound up living with for the next 10 years. So, Xavier, your kidnapping charge is out the window. Come back with something better, please. Okay. I can't wait till Danny gets his own show. I love Danny. Danny's like a brother to me. If Danny decides to get his own show, I'd be behind him 100%. But that's not the plan. We have a lot of plans right now, and Danny getting his own show is not one of them. Xavier. Okay. Mr. Fugazi, how you doing? Michael Hensley. Miss Can't Be Wrong, how you doing? And thank you for sending me that. I'll take care of that. Appreciate it. Michael Hensley, I appreciate you being here and thank you. BK Brooklyn, how you doing? Dana Smith, I hope you jump back in. Thank you for being here. Robert Urich. Remember the actor named Urich? That's how old I am. Peter Verzani, how you doing? Special Agent Calicone. Okay. Colicone, I'm sorry. Colicone. Granbino, Roof Doctor. So we're going to start getting a lot of people here. Brian Press, how you doing today? Glad to see you here. OC, how you doing? Steve Bally, how you doing? Thank you for telling your family members. They've been coming in here. They've even written me emails. Stephen Bailey, thank you very much. And Stephen's from across the pond. FBI, Hiley, Mayo 16S, and Mr. Verghese. It's kind of funny because today FBS was doing a show. I was supposed to come on at 6, and then Bill Catullo showed up over there. And so I texted him. I said, no, you got a good show going. I'll come on a half hour later. And that's how you do it. You work with each other here. It's too bad everybody doesn't do that. There's sides here, unfortunately. And with the sides. So Danny's not here right now because When he got home, we were talking, then he called me back. He has a worker in his 30s, and his worker went home and found his wife unresponsive on the kitchen floor. And the guy didn't have a car. He drives Danny's truck, and Danny doesn't let people take his trucks home. So Danny had to go take him to the hospital. I have no idea what's going on with this man's wife. We can only wish him the best. To be 30 and unresponsive on the floor, she couldn't talk. That sounds like a very serious thing. Sounds like maybe a stroke or an aneurysm. But let's wish her the best, even though we don't know her. It's just a sad thing when things happen to young people like that. Keep it old school. Thank you for jumping in. Tony B, how you doing, Tony B? Give me a call after the show, Tony. Please. Sorry I haven't gotten a hold of you. Irish Mob, good to see you here. Brooklyn Rob 1, thank you for coming in. Stephen Dodd, I'm sorry I just said your name, just in case I said it again. $9.99 from Michael Hensley. Thank you, Michael Hensley. It's greatly appreciated. Ben Whitley, since day one, Danny ain't too shabby either. No, Danny's not. Danny's a great guy. I am lucky to have a friend like Danny. Not only have Danny and I become partners here, we become friends. We're the same age. I was going to say we have a lot in common, but Danny has a different personality than me, and that's what makes our show, our different personalities. And feels kind of weird. I haven't done a show like this. I'm usually with Danny, but you guys know I've always done shows by myself until Danny shows up. I love doing shows like this. I have a lot to talk about today, and I'm actually looking forward to it. When we get to 200 or so, I'm going to talk about what was said by Paul Tanso about what's going on with everything right now. And he feels like he's being railroaded and lied about. But you guys can make that decision. I'll put that up there. And Paul has also agreed to do an interview here. But he goes to court on the 8th. It can't be until after court. But he has agreed. But he has released a statement and said I could talk about it. Otherwise, I wouldn't. Dana, $9.99, thank you very much. We really appreciate it, Dana. Like always, you've always been very good at this show. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, I'm going to tell you another thing. We just had our best month ever for this show. We averaged on our videos 5,000 to 7,000 per video. We used to do 1 to 2. The last month we had 150,000 views in the last month. When I did Bill Catullo's with Danny, that one still picks up 500 views per day. This show is doing great. Our numbers have been great. I can't ask for more, and I know that Danny's a big part of that, and I would never say otherwise. When you have a show, you have to add the right person if you're going to want to be and you guys seen me over the last year. I've been up here with a few people, and they never worked out. And Danny came along, and Danny worked out. It's that simple. And I know you guys like Danny just the way he is and stuff. But I want to talk about something real quick before we get to the good stuff. People keep saying that they are going to expose people. They're going to expose Danny. They're going to expose me. Unless you can find a dead body in our car or a child in our trunk, you're not going to expose nothing. When an idiot like Tony Pizza comes out and puts up quotes, Lee said this about Gene Barillo. Tony, all you are is being used as other people's bitch. That's it. You're a joke, dude. No one takes you serious. You barely have people watching your show now. You can put up whatever you want. You're not going to affect my numbers, period. And for other people saying stuff, especially, you have these trolls going, John Wolf. John Wolf was on, I believe he was in a couple chats the other day on Angels. In the chat, he was going, we're about to expose Danny Trio. Well, where's the shit, John? Danny wants you to expose him, please. Please come up with whatever you have. Stop talking shit. Give us something, please. If you're going to... Exposing means that you come up with evidence. Exposing doesn't mean like you talk about it. because that makes you just a troll. So you come up with the evidence that you have against Danny Trio. Okay? And that's the message from Danny. Danny came on here. Danny's been in jail for murder. Do you understand that? He came on here and told everybody his life. And people think you're going to expose a guy like that? What are you going to expose? Something worse than murder? See, this is all talk from you trolls. You're weak. Prove that you could do something. Expose somebody. Put something out there. What are you going to say about me? That I kidnapped a woman, I molest children, all lies. But that's what you guys do because that's all you got. You're all a bunch of losers. I watch you guys talk and it's like comical. You know what a troll is, person? A troll is somebody that cannot create their own show. There's somebody that they're jealous of the whole world. Usually they're about 5'1" and weigh 400 pounds. They make me look tiny. That's what your typical troll is, people. They have no power. They come in here. They literally are in here from the morning. They're in here 24 hours. It's like they don't sleep. They lay in their bed with their computer in front of them and a bag of chips in the other hand and dip all over their face. That's a troll. But anyway, let me just say that. So please, stop saying you're going to expose us and expose us, please. We're dying for it. Please do something that makes this show disappear. We're waiting. Okay. Let's see who's in here right now. Bill Catullo, welcome, Bill. Danny sending you to your employee and you. Bill, thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Okay. John O'Master, Special Agent Calicone, did you have anything to do with the two Hells Angels clubhouses in Massachusetts being raided this morning? Well, I didn't hear nothing about that. No one's blocking you from writing, Xavier, okay? Just because you're angry because of your first name, don't take it out on us. You can write what you want as long as it's not too bad, too nasty. I'm just trying to get to the bottom here before we get on to the Bobby Luisi thing. Haley, I got a question. I seen you expose Gunner. So is it true his family and him were never in the mafia? Well, you know something? I'm not going to make this a Gunner show right now. We hit him pretty hard. Just go watch one of our videos on him. There's a couple out there. And, you know, we're not going to stick with the Gunner thing. We said what we had to say about Gunner. We're moving on from that subject. Gunner's not a bad guy, people. He just tells bad stories. Okay. Okay, let's see. Lee, don't forget dirty feet for the trolls. It must be tough making a living as a troll these days. It's not 2012 anymore. You know something? No matter what genre you go into, people, there's trolls everywhere. And trolls are usually the people in life that have never accomplished nothing, the lowlives. That's what trolls usually are. They become like a comedian thing. Look who they're controlling now, Tony Pizza. You know, we have people on our side who are trolls. When we know who they are. Okay, $10, Vince Marino. Thank you, Vince. I really appreciate it. I will be dropping the link after I talk about Paul Tanso. Okay, so today, Paul Tanso gave me a call. And he said to me, Lee, your show is getting popular and stuff. I'd like to talk to you, and I want you to get out the stuff out there. Bobby Luisi said I stole $6,000 worth of equipment. He wanted to come on the show today, but he could not. So let me explain something to you about Paul Tanso. Whether you like him or not, here's a fact about Paul. Okay, Paul, I'm going to show you 1 second, please. This is Paul with Bobby Luisi right here when they first came up and did a show. The difference between Paul Tanso and Bobby Luisi is that one was a cooperator Boston Bob, they called him, and he was a capo. He has a book out that says that he was a head of a family, but he wasn't. He was a capo. And that's right there. And these are the informants, and this is from Philadelphia. And this is the whole family list from Philadelphia. Circled on the bottom there is Bobby Luisi, who was an informant. And Bobby Luisi will tell you he was an informant. But he had a fight with Paul Tanso and said that Paul Tanso stole $6,000 worth of equipment with him and disappeared. They were supposed to go and start working at a car lot, but now Paul's working there and Bobby Luisi's not allowed there. And that's according to Paul. Paul says that Bobby Luisi's welcome there anytime. Paul Tanso got charged with a double homicide. Paul Tanso was never arrested for ratting. There's no papers. There's nothing on Paul Tanso. And then he beat some of the charges with the murder charge on appeal, but he did a lot of time. He did over a decade in prison, but he never snitched. And let me talk about that. Okay. The following is going to be Paul Tanso's statement. This is exactly what Paul Tanso said to me today. Everything's accurate. I didn't twist anything around or turn it. And it's like I said, Paul Tanso will have an opportunity to come on this show and talk about it. First of all, Bill, there's a new book out by Bobby L, and we're going to call him Bobby L. So Bobby L came out with a book, and he was saying that he was head of a family or something. Tanso said he's lying. He was a captain. So that we will just say he's still a captain. Okay. Tanso says that Bobby used Tanso's inheritance to purchase furniture and equipment, filed a domestic order against him so he could not come pick up his personal stuff, including the furniture he purchased. Now, Tanso said that he had a large inheritance, and basically what happened was that after he got the inheritance and it started running out, that basically Bobby had no need for him no more. The money was gone. And they slowly broke up. He said that the night they broke up, there was a lot of remarks made. A woman was joking about hurting him while he slept. And it was just the last week or so became very bad. And he just wanted to let us know that. And here's a couple other things he's going to say. As you know, Bobby Luisi's father and brother were killed in a restaurant along with two other people. It was 4 people murdered sitting at a table. But Paul said that right before that happened, they contacted Bobby Luisi and asked him to come help him. And Bobby Luisi refused to send anybody to help his father and brother. And because these guys came in, they knew something bad was going to happen, and they were killed at the table. Now that doesn't make it true, man. This is what Paul's telling me. Okay. He said the reason being is Bobby L hid from his father, and his father and brother wanted to kill him. They wanted to put a contract out on him. And he said when he comes on the show, he'll tell us exactly why that contract was put out on him. He said that he took $6,000 worth of equipment because of all the money that he lost and it was taken advantage of. And then he said Bobby still filed charges against him and filed an insurance claim on this stuff that was stolen by Tanso. Paulie Tanso says Bobby isn't a Christian like he claims. It is a scam. He uses it to lure women so he could take advantage of them. Basically what he says is Bobby likes to use his religion as a way of getting older women in and taking advantage of them. And he says his religion is meaningless. He's not religious. Now, we don't know that. This is Paul saying this. Once again, this is Paul Tanso saying this, not Lee Cole or Danny Trio. Okay. Bobby L cannot show his face at the car lot that he works at because he has too many enemies. Paul Tanso said he never ratted or cooperated and took a charge for murder he didn't commit so he wouldn't snitch. So what he's basically saying is that he never had a reason to snitch, and that Bobby L snitched. And he said that's what separates him between him and Bobby Luisi. Then he said Bobby uses everyone around him, especially women he is around. And he does that with the religion. Okay, now listen, people. Those are just a few of the things. Let's make this perfectly clear. I keep saying this, but I got to make sure no one wants to try to take the show down. Not the channel, but the show. Don't strike it. It's not my opinion. It's Paul Tanso's opinion. Personally, I don't have an opinion at all. But he's been under attack from a lot of channels saying that he stole $6,000 worth of equipment, but there's never been a reason. There's never been. Okay, they said that he did it for drugs. Now Tanso says that he gets drug tested. He's still in the jurisdiction of the courts, and hasn't been no drugs found in his body, period. And that was just created to make him look bad. I don't know if it's true, people, but that's what they do. This is what they do. They attack your character. They come after your character to try to make you look bad. Maybe he's the raging crackhead. Who the hell knows? I don't know. And believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this name on my show. He says that the furniture and stuff that he purchased in Boston and everything, he says Stax has been to that apartment, knows that he purchased it, and chatting with Stax. And that's like kind of a witness. But I don't know Stax. Well, I do know Stax. I don't like Stax. I can't stand Stax. But I'm putting that out there for Paul Tanso. Matter of fact, Stax is probably going to get mad and say, how could Paul Tanso go on Lee's show? Because right now we have 230 people in the chat room, and you have 30 if you're lucky. Okay, so people, I put that out there. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel about this whole thing. You guys have heard it. Do you think that it's true that Tanso just ripped him off and took off like a crackhead? Or do you think there's more behind it? I mean, we got to remember, one's a cooperator, one's not. One went to prison for murder, one didn't. And the one that went to prison for murder did not rat. And he did heavy time in prison for it. Okay. Lee, don't let these assholes abuse you. Miss can't be wrong. Nobody abuses me. They can say whatever they want. But the fact of the matter is, when I end this show, I'll get a few thousand views on this video, and they'll be in the chat room talking crap about me. So who really wins? I like when they come in the chat room because it's a view. I like when they stay in the chat room insulting me for an hour because it helps watch time. So who's really winning? Let the haters hate. But I'm not going to do what other chat rooms do and block people because they hurt my damn feelings. And Vince Marino, like I said, thank you for the $10. Okay, well, it's crazy because he has a company. That's why I didn't try to bring him up. Okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about there. Pizza's a bozo. You could draw him out with tens. Can you imagine the things that Tony would do for a $20 bill, people? Can you imagine the decrepit, nasty things that Tony Pizza would do for a $20 bill? Tony would pull down his drawer and stick his ass up in the air for a $20 bill. There's no doubt. He would fall to his knees for a $20 bill because he's Tony. Okay. The sad life of being a troll, watching people's videos you hate just to comment. Yes, and that's what they do, Stephen. That's what a troll is. They just go in. This is what they do all day. They think they're bothering people, and they don't realize how pathetic their lives are. and they try to destroy innocent people's lives. They make people commit suicides. They make people have breakdowns. Good people that they attack, innocent people that trolls attack. That's what they do. They go from genre to genre, creating havoc. And they came into this genre trying to destroy people, but everybody's still standing, stronger than ever. So I think the trolls need to find a new genre, because what they're doing in here ain't working. They always say they're coming out with a story, and then they get certain people who don't know any better that work for them. People who actually are content makers. They're running around in honor of the trolls. And I made the mistake. I had these trolls in my chat room. I learned the hard way. But that's what they are, people. And I'm sure there's some of them in here with different names right now because they're cowardly. Paulie is on drugs, can't sit, still flopping around like a fish. Rusty, Paulie told me that he has a disease. There's a name for it, and that's why he continuously moving like that. But Rusty, if you know something we don't know, just let us know. And I'm not saying you're wrong. Bobby Luisi was nothing but a coke dealer who was not allowed in the north end of Boston. He was shunned. There's a reason why he wasn't made in Boston. Exactly. And not just that, his father and brother wanted him dead. When your father and brother want you dead, there's a very deep-seating thing going on there. Were tight. They were very tight, man. They were very tight. They did shows together. It was an entertaining show. And the next thing you know, now he's doing a show with a woman, and Paul's off in the wind. But that's how this business is, people. It happens all the time. All the time it happens. Lee, all the MobTube, no, not all the MobTube guys. A lot of them are. Not all the MobTube guys. I'm a MobTube guy. I never informed. So it's not true, all of them. But Mr. Fugazi, I understand what you're saying. Most of them are. In the early 80s, my crew went to war with the Philly mob. Okay. Paul is fucking funny. I told him once that he looked like De Niro in Awakenings. He said he's his brother, no De Niro. Okay. I wonder if Paul Tanso really did what he is accused of. Paul Tanso says he did take the stuff, but he said that he was being ripped off, and once his inheritance ran out, there was no need for him no more. So who knows? Maybe Paul's full of crap. But hopefully Paul can come on here and give more views about what happened. Paulie did about 3 to 4 years, not 10. John O'Masters, thank you. 3 to 4 years in state prison is still a lot of time. But I did say he filed appeal. But Paulie, I like to be corrected when I'm wrong. Thank you very much. Bigfoot, where's your better half, Lee? Hopefully he'll show up. He has somebody that's very sick today. One of his workers came home, and they found their wife unresponsive on the floor. And it happened about an hour and a half before this show was going to start. He's at the hospital with his worker, and he's going to call. Hopefully he calls in. I'm not calls in. Gets in from the hospital. Maybe he'll have better signal there too. Don Vito. Bobby hasn't had Paul Tanso on his show for months because of what he did. Is Jimmy Calandra a rat? Michael, you got to ask him. Was he an informant? Yes, he's an admitted informant. There's no doubt. This can't be wrong. Bigfoot, his employee's wife, was found unconscious with no car. Danny gave him a ride to the hospital to be with her. And Danny's staying at the hospital with him. That's the kind of guy Danny is. He comes off a certain way, but he's really a good man. He helps a lot of people, and he does a lot of things. Is this show rat friendly show? Because all comments on rats get deleted. Marco, I don't want any remarks being deleted. If people are deleting remarks, they're probably vulgar. But I tell my people in here, don't delete people's remarks unless they're totally nasty. But I can't watch what people do in here. But I have some of the best mods going, so I'm not really worried about it. I thought Bobby he went to Philadelphia. There was a reason behind it. He couldn't get his button in Boston, where his father was a captain. So that tells you a lot. Is this show okay? Well, I already read that. Trolls, make sure you hit the like when you come in. Thank you. Yes, please hit the likes for people that haven't hit the likes. Please hit the likes. I'd be greatly appreciated. Lee, congrats on getting past 1 million views. You guys deserve it. We're actually, Mike, we're at 1.25 million views now. 1.25. I'm sorry, 1,250,000, just about. So they're coming in real quick now. The show is growing real fast. Bobby changed his life around. Give him a chance. I gave him a chance. Carmine, I told you what Paul Tanso said. If he has turned his life around and Paul Tanzo's lied, that's on Paul Tanzo. But am I going to put up what Paul Tanzo asks me to put up, his side of the story? Absolutely. Because remember, there's always two sides to every story, people, and the truth is right down the middle. Always remember that. It would make sense to me if Bobby Luisi had scammed anyone, would have spread around the community. Well, you know something, it is being kind of spread around the community. You guys just don't hear it sometimes. You don't know what we hear behind the scenes, people. You know the things that are said about me behind the scenes? Paulie is one on drugs with mental health issues, not Bobby. Well, John O'Masters, you seem like you're supporting Bobby. I appreciate that. A matter of fact, I'm going to drop the link. If you want to come up here and tell us why you support Bobby, you're more than welcome. Matter of fact, I'm going to put the invite link down right now. Anybody that wants to jump up. Anybody that wants to jump up, especially if you want to defend Bobby Luisi. No one's attacking Bobby Luisi here. We put up what Tanzo said. A captain of what? Bobby Luisi was a joke and shunned in Boston, and the murder that happened at 99 Restaurant was an ambush of two, a father, a son, in the North End. Yeah, more people than two were killed. All the guys at the table were killed from a previous fight. Fact, yes, that is true. Matter of fact, a couple of those guys are still in prison. But, you know, when I had Bobby on here, I talked to him about it. Bobby's exact words is, I didn't really care about the murder. He had no emotions, no feelings about his father being killed. But Bobby admits that himself. So, you know, there's something deep-seated there. John DiGiorgio. Danny, what's up? Danny's not here right now, John, but he'll be here, God willing. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I'm just so skeptical about pushing religion. God bless them. It's not for me. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, because it seems like all the gangsters or informants, what do they all have in common? God. They love to talk about God. When guys go to prison, what's the first thing they find in the first week in prison? God. And then when they get out of prison, what's the first thing they do? Commit a crime. So, Black FBS, I think Bobby Luisi is sincere. You might be right, Black FBS. I have my opinion about it, but, you know, I'm going to give Paul Tanzo the opportunity to give his side on it, Black FBS. He was on the show. He seemed great that day. So, you know. No, but MRE is one and the fat one that, okay. Yeah, but, okay. Dell is my name. MRE is the one fat one that Michelle Serrato FBS has proved it. FBS has proved a lot of things, people. Trust me when I tell you Bobby Luisi is a fraud. I know his nephew. Listen, We have another interview lined up with John Alight's son's in prison. And his son's in prison looking at some serious time and did some very bad things, especially his third charge. And one of his cellmates came forward, and we're checking him out before we use him. But he has a lot to say. And that's the great thing about having this show and getting as popular as we're getting. We have all sorts of people come forward, but we have to check them. You know, everybody needs to be checked. If someone says that they're John Alight's son's cellmate in prison, maybe they're lying. Maybe they were on the tier. You just never know. People will tell you anything. But the fact of the matter is, we all know that John Alight's a piece of shit. The bottom of the barrel, he's scum below the scum. We do know that about John Alight. John Alight will call people child molesters, horrible things when they go after him. They disagree with him. All we know about John Alight for sure is that he did some things in the street, and for 2 years he was with John Gotti Jr., a very good friend. And then everything else gets blurry after that. After he leaves John Gotti Jr., John Alight's whole life gets blurry until he comes and starts telling us what a killer he was. But that's John Alight. And we'll be covering more John Alight, believe me. As you know, last time we did a show on him the other day, he came into the chat, was talking a bunch of shit. So you know what? He's earned another show. $5 from Joey, 67. Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Danny and yourself for the work you put into the show. We want to put a good show up, people. You know, once we're gonna hit the haters every once in a while. But in general, we want to talk about stuff. And talking about Paul Tanso, it's a good thing to talk about with Bobby Luisi, because Bobby Luisi's given only his view. Now, there's a court case going on right now. I don't know what it's for. But if Tanso goes to prison for doing something like that, then it's obvious that Tanso was guilty. But then again, I shouldn't say that. A lot of innocent people go to prison too. Michael Hensley, Stacks is a clown. Come on, grade A. That man is not a clown. Why would you say he's a clown? It kind of bothers me that you said that he's a clown. What evidence do you have that he...
Respect me, dog. I'm for real.
You think karate Bruce Lee, nigga?
Get the fuck
This shit is crazy in the house.
I can't do it, yo. I can't do it.
Son.
Let your boy know who I am.
Why you yelling? Go, nigga. Who are you talking to?
Oh my god.
Yo, wait for my bike. Wait for my bike.
Grab it. Yo, I swear to fuck.
Turn off?
So do you have any evidence, Michael Hensley, that he's a clown? Please let me know. I don't see any. I know he's a hell of a fighter. Okay. Lee, sounds like Paul should come on and tell the type of story. You should just be saying he didn't steal any equipment and he will explain the rest later. No, actually, he wanted me to say what he said. That's my job. This is a show where we give information. And I made it perfectly clear, Joe Melrose, that the information that I give is that from Paul and not from me, not from Danny. It's that simple. But Joey, yeah, he is planning on coming on the show after court on the 8th. So we'll see. People say things all the time. Will he live up to it? We'll see. Tony B, you're exactly right, Tony B. There's two sides to every story, especially when you're around these scummy guys, especially the cooperators who have put hundreds of people in jail, 50, 60, with testimony, people in prison, because they couldn't face the heat. Nowadays, you never know what to think, even if you know them personally. Tony Ducks, you're absolutely right. I hope that Bobby Luisi has found God and he means it from the bottom of his heart. But that still doesn't mean that Paul Tanso doesn't deserve to put his story out there. Hard to gauge without hard evidence. Joey, that's both sides. You're absolutely right. Both sides need hard evidence. People can say things, but where's the hard evidence? Sounds like some truth mixed in with some lies. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, Steve. I couldn't have said it better. Definitely truths without lie. Lee, you are right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Lee, they always talk crap. Nothing new. Yep, that's what they like to do. But it doesn't. The feds also carry Paul Tanso as an active soldier in the Philly family. If you look at their most recent chart, yes, great point. A matter of fact, here is their chart, and he is listed as a soldier. He's not listed on the bottom as an informant. He's listed as a soldier. They don't list him as an informant, so there's no evidence that he's an informant. And this is one of those things where you got to come, who are you going to believe? The guy that informed or the guy that didn't inform? That's what it comes down to, people. You have to make that decision. You know, Paulie comes off kind of odd and strange. He's very jittery and stuff. But he does take a drug test. He is under court orders right now, and he takes a drug test continuously. They test him all the time. Lee, Danny, Trio Podcast, are you taking matters into your own hands? We're going to kill every rat in their entire family after. What are you talking about? After that, no one will rat about anything. Dude, I'm sorry, New York Connect. I don't know what you're talking about. You're going to kill every rat? Doesn't that kind of make you worse than them? You're going to kill somebody because you don't like what they did? Let the people they ratted on kill them. You don't have to worry about it. That's taking it a little bit too far. That's what the problem here. You're taking it too far. Xavier Woods, I have no clue about the whole situation. I grew up in a neighborhood, and there's not one thing I did not know from 1975 until now. And John, I don't know who you are, but you got a hell of a name, and I was very close to a John DiGiorgio. Not very close, but I worked for him for 2 years, and not the one that snitched. Tony Duck, some learn better the hard way, I guess. JDA, John DiGiorgio, I know at the North End has been gentrified. Yeah, the father's son that went to the 99s, I knew the younger brother. And as you know, Bobby Luisi's brother and father were killed in that diner. John DiGiorgio, ignore him. It's obvious the guy knows nothing. Yeah, don't get into it. They'll be cut out if they continue their crap. You tell them, Lee, well, that's what we're trying to do. Agreed that guy is a wacko. Yeah, you know what? But there's a lot of them are wackos. A lot. We have a lot of wacky people in the mob genre. We got some crazy people. I'm one of them, but I'm just not as crazy as a lot of these people in here. I mean, you're talking insane people. Do you know how insane you got to be in here every day from morning to night? And that's your life. It makes you wonder what they're doing around the people that they're associated with, their families. Are they spending time with their families? Do they have children? Do they literally like walk around with a phone in their hand, waiting for shows to come on? Is that what they do? I mean, it is weird, people. Very, very weird how these trolls are in here 24/7. That should tell you everything you need to know about a troll. Xavier James. See, Xavier, you talk a lot of shit about me. I still pull you up here. Do you think you can go to any other chat room and act like that and still get pulled up? How does a cellmate of Elite's son have anything to do with Elite just going to be lies because you don't like him? Lies? I wouldn't be lying. It would be the cellmate that's lying, Xavier. Our job is to report. Xavier, do you think that John Alite lies? John Alite on his show looked right into the camera and said that Lee Cole, me, kidnapped a child and molested him. He said that. Is he lying, Xavier? Or is he telling the truth because you got your foot up his ass? Oh, I'm sorry, your head up his ass. See, that's what I'm thinking. See, you don't see the lies that John Alite says every day. John Alite, you can watch him, and in 20 minutes, he'll tell 10 lies. But Xavier, John Alite needs people like you that don't call him out on it. You are perfect for John Alite. You are a typical John Alite fan. You believe that he had a massive shootout at his house. You believe that Tommy Crotty sent a bunch of guys to kill him, and John Alite took him into the woods and shot them all down. No cops ever came. No bodies were ever recovered. Do you ever question that, James? Of course you don't. You are a perfect prey for these guys, James. You're someone that doesn't think. You guys be talking about Bobby's father was an associate, not made, but so that tells you something. If Bobby wasn't putting in the work, he wouldn't have been made in Philadelphia. Do you want to hear, Xavier? It's always been claimed that he left Boston because he could not get made, and he went down and bought his button in Philadelphia. That's basically the story, Xavier. And Bobby's more than welcome to come on here and answer that question. That's fucking amazing and fucking hilarious why you all hit me like that just standing there. Okay. Lee, I think Stax slipped and the guy in the doorway was bending to help Stax get back up. Oh, that's what it was, you know. Matter of fact, the guy was lucky that Stax slipped because Stax just started gaining control of the fight. The father was killed when two young kids happened to go to a restaurant at the same time. They were threatened by the father and cousins. One of the kids called his father. He was there in 5 minutes. John, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what happened. But when Senior Luisi called, he couldn't get no help. He needed help too. It was a horrible thing. Can you imagine? I mean, they knew the father thought that his sons were in danger, so he killed them. It's an incredible story. It's really an incredible story, people. If my boy was tough talking someone and acting like that, I'd let him get smacked around too. Tony B. I want to hear from both of them. I would love to hear. That's what I want to do. Bobby Luisi probably wouldn't come on here or talk to me about it, to be honest with you. You see, Bobby Luisi goes on these other shows, gives his version, but no one ever hits, they don't question him good on it. So how are you going to know? We're basically like reporters, people. This is our show. We come on here. You guys like when I show up here and talk about something that other people don't want to talk about. Or Danny, same thing. He'll come on. We try to talk about stuff. We talk about stuff that pisses people off. We brought Bill Catullo on here. Danny lost friends over that because they didn't think that he should have interviewed Bill Catullo. But you know what Danny told him? Go suck a D. You guys be talking about it. Okay, I'm sorry. I read that already. Xavier James, you have no clue of the whole situation. I grew up in a neighborhood, and there's not one thing I did not know. Oh, I read that already. Sorry, people. I'm just trying to keep up on these comments, and I got to shoot back. John and George, ironically, I'm 5 days older than Bobby Luisi Jr. and had my own social club in the same neighborhood, and I wouldn't be able to do that unless I have permission. Exactly. And that's the thing, John. Danny Trio had his own social clubs. And people will come on and say, Danny Trio is fake and stuff. But he literally had his own social clubs. And he comes on and names the clubs. And you never hear anybody come out and say that Danny Trio is lying. The only people that call him a liar are the trolls. You don't have anybody that comes out from the Columbos calling Danny Trio a liar. You have nobody coming out that were something in the street calling Dan. And I'm not talking about John A. John A. was shit. But, you know, I'm just talking about people that were really something. Today, the North End was a very serious place today, like a lot of yuppies, trendy streets. Yeah. You know, I worked 2 years in the combat zone, and that was in 1980 and 1980, 70, 80 and 81 in the combat zone. Very tough area. And I seen things as a kid. Well, I wasn't a kid. I was 19 years old, but I seen things in the combat zone that I didn't even see in Times Square. And so the combat zone was a very rough area. Okay, Xavier, John DeGiorgio, because you grew up there, people's families and what went down, I seriously doubt it from my streets, and grandfather was still involved. Well, Xavier's actually having a conversation without being rude. Can you believe that? See, Xavier, you're more than welcome to have a conversation as long as you're not going to be attacking people. My friends think I'm nuts. You know something? People think that about me, but you know, because of this channel, I'm putting, once again, anybody wants to jump up is welcome. Because of this channel, I owe no bills. Everything's paid. I even paid taxes, the right amount of taxes. I haven't paid taxes in a while because I was always underneath the bracket. But this show is actually giving me a different type of life. And people say, oh, you only got 5,000, say 5,000. They don't understand. It's not 5,000. People donate to the show. People like the show all the time. A matter of fact, just so you know, I don't want you guys to think I'm forgetting, but right underneath there is my Cash App. Forget about the Venmo. I don't like the Venmo. But anyway, there it is right there. If you guys want to donate anything to the show, we'll run that just because. Did you see Lee begging for money? That's why, PM Justice, because I want to beg for some money. Okay. George, you bet you have interest in story. Yes, any of these guys in the streets of Brooklyn, it doesn't matter even if you weren't made. If you grew up in certain neighborhoods, you have lots of stories. It doesn't matter whether you were associated with groups or gangs. If you grew up in Brooklyn during the 80s and 90s, certain areas of Brooklyn, you've seen things that will never leave your mind. You've seen people get killed in cars, bombs blow up, just people get shot and fall down in the middle of the street. That was Brooklyn back in the 80s and 90s. Generally speaking, the term troll isn't used as a compliment. No, it's not. Are you interested in the New England mob? MC? You know, I know you're asking, Miss Can't Be Wrong about that. But the New England mob is very interesting, very interesting family. And you're talking about the patriarchs, and then you're talking about the Angelos in Boston. Then you even had Whitey Bulger and the Irish over in the south end of Boston. So you had a lot of gangs out there in the New England area. You are right about the neighborhood. Says 20 social clubs in every corner had a crew of guys. It was yuppie. There were, that's it. But back then, if you remember, John, you walk down the street, you always seen these buildings with the windows. It will say social club, but the windows would be covered up. That's a social club. Some of them weren't covered up, but they used to like their privacy. But there were social clubs everywhere. That's where the gangsters hung out, played cards. They would go in there and complain how they weren't making any money, most of them, because most gangsters made no money. You know, there was a few of them that made money, and there was a bunch of them that didn't make a damn dime. They had to beg for cash. Not like Tony Pizza, though. Tony Pizza. Now that Tony Pizza is a begging gangster. No one can beg like Tony Pizza. Bobby literally still lives in the north, and so people just be talking. Xavier, it's obvious that you are in love with two people. You're in love with John Alight, and you're in love with Bobby Luisi. So I'm guessing, Xavier, the chances are you're probably an informant. Maybe I'm wrong. But the way that you come running to these informant sides, I'm sorry. What's going on, my man?
Hey, good evening, Lee. What's happening, buddy?
Not much. Where you at right now?
I just had to take a little walk outside of my house, sitting
So what
down
do
in
you
the shade.
So what do you think about this stuff going on right now with Tanso wanting to tell his side of the story?
Yeah, I think he should, man. It looked like at first that he was the bad guy, and sorry about
No,
that.
that's no problem. That's New
Yeah,
York, brother.
yeah, and he might not be the bad guy after. I was hoping you would have him on,
Well,
but
he has
yeah.
court on the 8th, so he can't come on until after court.
Oh, so there's a reason. Okay.
The lawyer
And
told him not to go. Yeah, the lawyer told him that he can give a statement, but don't go on the show. And that makes sense because if you're about to go to court, you can make a statement that could put you in prison. So
yeah, hell yeah. But hopefully he comes on, and he says his piece.
okay, Manuel G. Lee, you and Alight both lie. You said some guy was a rat 3 weeks ago on SoFlo channel. You had no proof and still haven't proved it. Manuel, where have you been? That guy's actually been on this show and got an apology for that. If I don't know if you know that, but see, Manuel G, I'm guessing that maybe you are a troll. Maybe I'm wrong. So what do you think of these trolls all over the place?
Me personally, they don't affect me because I'm not a creator like you are. I can't, I'm on the phone right now and I don't see any chat, nor do I care, These people don't know me, I don't know them. But I understand you guys, got to be annoying for you show creators, but don't bother me.
Yeah, the trolls have been saying for the last week that we're going to drop bombshell evidence on Danny Trio. And we've been begging them for them to drop the evidence.
Yeah. Where's your partner today? He's off today?
No, he has one of his one of the guys that worked for him went home and found his wife unresponsive on the kitchen floor.
Oh man.
And the guy doesn't have a car, so he called Danny up. And Danny plays this, people think Danny's this hard guy. He's really not. He's really a good guy. And so Danny took him to the hospital but the wife is unresponsive in her mid-30s. That's not always a good thing.
No, definitely not. Wow, Dennis, you see, it just shows what a good guy that he is.
He is a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's become a very good friend of mine.
Yeah, Lee. How did you actually hook up with him, man? It's such a strange bedfellows, like you.
Well,
and him,
I was at a gay night. I was at a gay nightclub, and I seen him in the middle of the floor.
What's with you? Listen. You're always talking about gay shit, bro. I don't know about you, buddy.
No, I know, but he was in his leather chaps. It was like that veto thing from.
And that's what it was.
It was right away. There was something that. Actually, no. I joined a couple of his pages on Facebook, and I noticed that a lot of people that were on his page were actually guys that were retired or shelved, like gangsters, real gangsters.
Wow.
And I recognized their names and stuff. And so I started talking to Danny and stuff. And the next thing I know, I interviewed Danny. And then I asked him, I said, why don't you come on my show? It got along great. Then I asked him to be my partner. And he said yes. And that's how it happened.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But we became friends.
I like Danny. When Danny
became
first
friends in
came
other
on,
ways. Huh?
When Danny first came on, he was real rough around the edges. I was like, I don't know, man, but he definitely, he's definitely. I can't think of it. I'm so tired, man, from work, and this heat is crazy, man. We're in a heat wave in New York, man. But
Well,
he's
I like the
definitely a
other
good
day.
guy, man. He definitely
I
grew on me.
I like the other day when you called from the car wash.
Oh, the car. Yeah, I wanted. I was glad that you put the stream in. You know that you could hit it up because I want to show Dan. You know that's Danny's the old stomping ground right there. So
Yeah.
you know
Does
I don't know
the
the
same
last
person
time.
does the same person still own that car wash?
No,
Because
different person.
that's what Danny
Yeah,
was wondering, whether the same
yeah.
person.
I know Danny. I know Danny's friend. You know Danny's friend. He did. He might, as for all I know, I don't. You know, like he might have a piece still. Who knows? You know.
Well,
He owns everything in Coney Island. You know, fucking all the property. Forget about it, man. God bless.
May,
Shit, I wish I had a tenth of the
May,
property that he had, boy.
Mayo 16S says, James, I'm the cellmate of the son. I have no reason to lie. I find A-Light entertaining and I dislike him. I'm just relaying words from his son's mouth about his father. Thank you, Mayo 16, and we'll set something up for a nice show shortly.
Oh, what? So what, Lee? That guy was John's son's
Yeah, there was a
cellmate.
lot of stuff that went down there. A lot of stuff. It was a gun charge, some other ugly stuff that went on.
Yeah.
But John A-Light's always in the middle of it.
What else
And
is new,
he
man?
wants people to take the fall for him. Bigfoot, what's going on, my man?
I just had to come in here because Coney Island's in here.
Oh,
Lee. Wow. I'm
What's
getting
up,
Lee.
Billy?
I'm getting. Hey, what's up, Bigfoot? You creeped me out, bro.
No,
Nah, I'm
I'm
just kidding. You're a good guy. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
You
I
seem
know.
like a real good guy.
he's
But until
stalking you.
tonight, come on.
He's
I'm just
stalking
messing
you.
with it.
You're
Yeah.
being,
Stalking me. Look, I got my first stalker.
you're being stalked. You're being stalked by a
Is
six.
Yeah.
You're
I
being
was
stalked
like,
by a 6'6" guy.
I was
6'6".
like,
He's 6'10".
I was like,
He's-
is that? I didn't recognize you without your glasses. I was like, is that Billy? And then I saw the name. I was like, oh shit, it is. I gotta get on here.
Gotta get on. Yeah, nah, I'm
Yeah.
glad.
You're like,
How you doing, Bigfoot? How's the weather by you? It's hot?
oh fuck, man! It was
Yeah.
11:30 last night. It was still 80 degrees.
Wow. How about during the day?
It's 93 right now.
Yeah.
when
yeah,
it's 80
like
degrees
soup
here,
out
when it's 80 degrees here, I go outside, open my windows, and drive around.
Yeah, it's hot, man.
It's 108 degrees.
Wow.
It's supposed to,
Yeah. But you know what's funny? 100 degrees in New York is worse than 108 degrees in this part of Texas.
Of course,
Yeah.
we got the humidity.
Oh, that's
The
everything.
humidity is worse than any, that humidity is. That's where I'm like out of it. I'm tired.
yeah, it's
Knocked
The
out.
humidity is what. Hey, Bigfoot, you wanted me to play what again?
that video stinks. Oh, that was funny, man. That was
Yeah.
funny. That was
Well,
funny.
I could play another video too if you really want to see it.
Yeah.
You call me a child molester?
Bro, you look like
a
one.
fool.
You look like
Dude,
one.
you know what you look like?
I
You
don't
look
care.
like a guy that thinks he's a tough guy,
You
and
look
you're
like
not.
one. I don't give a fuck. You ain't gonna do shit, motherfucker.
Oh, well, what are
You
you
ain't
gonna
gonna do shit.
What are you gonna do? We
You
already
ain't gonna
seen
do
you
nothing.
fight, dude. You can't fight.
You ain't gonna do nothing.
But
You ain't
listen,
gonna do
you
nothing,
can't
bro.
fight, dude. I seen you
Shut
fight.
the fuck up, you fat fuck.
I'm a
Shut
fat
up,
fuck,
man.
but you can't fight.
Shut up, you fat.
Yeah, but how many times have I cursed? You're losing it, dude. You're losing it. Look at you're losing it. I could be a fat troll, but you're losing it.
Fuck you, Lee. Fuck
He's
you,
broken,
Lee.
people. You see how easy it was to break
Yeah.
this guy?
I'm broken. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and fuck you, Lee.
Oh,
That was a year ago. That was a year ago.
wow.
So I save these to play them every once in a while because they're always funny because we get a lot of new people on these channels that haven't seen this stuff. Like and then I just put it up and okay, let's see what people are saying here.
Oh wait. Oh, we scared Bigfoot away with the video. He left.
Yeah, he wanted to see the
popped
video too.
Yeah.
Bobby had an axe to grind with the Patriarch family, but said nothing to the feds about the Philly guys. Good point, Joey. But because you have an axe to grind doesn't mean that you should rat on them. Does it, Joey? Mafia Talk Lee, come on my show. My email is leecole1010 at Gmail. Send me some information, and I'll see what I can do.
Look at that. Moving on up, Lee. Awesome.
I get requests all the time, but you got to be careful what show you go on because some shows are too loyal to one side. I like shows that are right down the middle.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You guys, with all that, this side, that side.
Oh,
Just I know. Look, you do what you got to do. You and Danny doing a wonderful job. Just keep pumping away, And if you got to defend yourself, you got to defend yourself. But you turned it around, man. You turned it around, especially with Danny, and you're just going forward. And of course, you got to defend yourself, but I would spend a lot less time, going against them because they eventually die off if you don't get, rightly, if you don't give them no life.
well, except the trolls. The trolls will hang around because they have
That's what
no
they
life.
do. That's what they do. Like they would never do what I'm doing. Come on and show their face. I just come on, say what's up. We got a little bit of a friendship going on. You're a good guy. You
Yeah.
remember when I first came on. I'd show Lee Sheepshead Bay and shit. I'm actually right across from Sheepshead Bay High School's right here.
Yeah. My son was about 2 years old back then, and I used to walk him around that area. It's a beautiful area. Shore Road.
Of course, yeah, it changed a lot though.
Yeah, I used to walk him down Shore
Ethnic,
Road. That was beautiful back then.
Shore Parkway, you mean?
Yeah, Shore
Road's in
Parkway.
Bay Ridge. Yeah,
it was beautiful. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it still look that way?
It still looks the same, but the people are different. Back then it was Irish, Italian,
Yeah.
Jewish. Now it's Russian and a lot of Yemenis, man. A lot of people, the people that own the corner stores, a lot of Yemenis for whatever reason moved around. This is like the Bay End. I'm like right next to. I'm right off Knapp Street, so. You got Gerritsen Beach on the other side, the other Irish Riviera over there. Gerritsen Beach is still a very good neighborhood.
Well, I remember I was paying $600 for a 2-bedroom on Bragg Street, and when I was in Astoria, you would never pay $600. Couldn't get you a closet anymore.
$600. You're lucky if you get half a room, bro.
No.
A 2-bedroom apartment now. Well, not for nothing. Sheepshead Bay is one of the cheapest neighborhood for rent. It really is. Because you got the double fare. You gotta, you don't got the train right here. You got the train. You got to take a bus to a train, or it's a nice 20-minute walk.
I used to walk that.
Yeah.
To Kings Highway, I think it was. Was it Kings Highway?
Well, you could have went to Kings Highway or Sheepshead Bay Road. Kings Highway, that's even further.
Yeah, I used to walk to Kings Highway from when I was in that part of Brooklyn. And I used to walk to Skaturos on 11th.
All the way from Sheepshead Bay, you did it?
Yes, I've done that.
That's
5 o'clock in the morning, I would get up and I would do that walk.
That's some walk.
It sure the hell is. You don't realize how long. But back then I was broke. My wife and I, we just got married, and I just got transferred over there, and I couldn't even afford car fare to go to Skaturos. I literally had to walk it.
That is some walk, Lee.
That is some walk. That's right.
Yeah. It must have took you over an hour.
Oh yeah, yep. I would have to leave in the morning. Like if I worked at 7 or 8, I'd have to leave 5:30 in the morning. But I think about it now. I was in my 20s. I used to love walking. Walking never bothered me.
Yeah, walking is good. It's good to get your steps in,
And then you'd walk to the nice areas of Brooklyn. You walk, and the nice side streets and stuff. It's a nice walk. It's not like you're walking through Bushwick.
No, you walk every neighborhood that you're walking from what? Sheepshead Bay, Homecrest, then Ocean Parkway, Gravesend. Bensonhurst a little bit.
Yep.
What you used to go to up straight up 65th Street to Avenue Pete and 65th Street? You took that up?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, because back then I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
We were struggling, and my son was just born, and but after a while I got my shit together, and I didn't have to do that anymore. But those are the times you remember. When people are married back then, it wasn't like you married into money. You married because you actually loved the person.
Yeah.
And a woman would hang it out with a broke ass guy like me, but she didn't work. She was taking care of my son who was born.
Yeah. Women were housewives now, huh? Both the husband and the wife got to work, to make it,
And at Scaturo's, the manager there used to give me a bag of food and tell me.
I'm sure that helped.
He knew I was broke.
That was big. Wow.
He knew I was broke. He would tell me to take some stuff from the deli, and he would write it off. And that was for the first couple months, because he knew. But then, when I got in the union, I got in the meat cutters union there. And once I got
in the union, then you would, benefits, right? Nice benefits.
Yeah, and my salary went up and stuff. And,
And
then I had it pretty decent there for several years. But I'll tell you what, I loved when I lived in Brooklyn. I didn't mind doing the walking.
Yeah.
I didn't mind.
I can't believe Scaturo's is still there, man.
Yeah, it's there's only two of them left.
I look. There was a bunch of them, right?
I used to work at the one in Astoria, Queens, and then they closed that. That one's not open no more. But then
just 11th Avenue is the only one left, or
I think Hillside's still open too.
Hillside, Queens.
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
that's
wow.
That's their main one. But
really?
when I started over in Astoria, Queens, I worked there, and then what happened? My sister wanted to move over to Astoria, so we switched apartments. I took hers over in Brooklyn because I knew I could be transferred.
Sure.
And I wanted to get out of Astoria, so.
Yeah. I don't know how it's still all. That whole neighborhood is totally changed. There's no time. Very, very sporadically Italians left over there, man. I don't know how. Unless just people just come from old neighbors that they lived in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People will say, "Oh, what does Lee know about the streets and stuff?" Does it sound like I don't know about the streets, my man?
Nah, Lee.
Listen, it's like I walk those streets to get to work every day.
Listen, forget about Brooklyn, man. Look, I was a fucking idiot when I was a teenager and cut out of school. We used to go to 40 Deuce and freak off like little perverts, And I'm 55, so I'm talking about fucking 40 years ago,
Yeah.
So, and you were down there then, and you survived down there, you survive anywhere. Believe that. That place was,
And I survived my teenage years. I survived my teenage years in Yonkers, and I'm talking down by Getty Square and School Street, very rough area.
I don't know Yonkers too much, but I've heard, right? Yonkers is right there. Yonkers is like the Bronx, man.
It touches the Bronx.
So it touches the Bronx.
It's like Mount
some
Vernon.
Parts probably worse.
It's Mount Vernon.
Yes.
Mount Vernon touches the Bronx too. People don't realize Mount Vernon's a very tough area.
Vernon too. Yeah.
I mean, you got some really tough areas in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, that's where I think what's Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Bad Boy came from Mount Vernon.
When I played back then, when I was growing up, Mount Vernon had the greatest basketball team in all of high school football, and their starting five with their high school team all went to the pros.
When you were a kid, yeah, wow.
No, when I was a teenager, Mount Vernon they had one of the best basketball teams around. Great basketball program.
Wow. Then Denzel came from there too, right? I think Mount Vernon.
I'm not sure about that.
There.
Yeah, I know. Like Gus Williams, the basketball player, came from there, along with, and he's great. He was a great player, along with a bunch of other guys.
Who do you play for in the pros? Do you know Gus Williams?
A bunch of teams. He played for the Nets.
Oh, he played.
Knicks. Yeah, he played for a bunch of teams.
Okay.
I just want to read John DeGiorgio. Lee, if you only knew the complete story, because the situation is like a spider has 8 legs. It's different questions, things being said. There's a lot more to this than what's at least on here. Exactly, John. There's always more to every story.
Right. There's always 3 sides to every story, right, Lee?
Yep.
Your side, my side, and the right side.
Smartphone said you should see in the combat zone in the 1970s. Hey, Smartphone, the combat zone in 80 and 81 was just like the 70s. It was run by a man named Teddy Venus. and Julo Brothers let him. They gave him permission to open up a bunch of topless bars and all those sex shops and stuff. But he had a place called the Boston Bunnies. He opened up. That's where I worked. But they weren't bunnies. There were no bunnies there. If you're looking for play, yeah, they weren't bunnies. These women.
What's the combat zone? That's not New York, right?
That was in Boston, a very tough
Boston.
area. Just like remember the old Times Square, just like that.
Of course. Oh, just like that, but in Boston, yeah.
In Boston,
yeah,
very tough area. Nighttime, a lot of crime.
I like to go to. You've been to Boston before?
I lived there for 2 years.
Oh,
I worked in the combat zone.
Okay.
I've had a very exciting life, my man. I wouldn't change my life.
I know. You said I didn't know you went. You worked down Boston in that district too. Wow.
Well, what happened is I was working at that time. I was in Times Square. I saved up my money, and I said I want to get out of here for a while. So I went to the Port Authority. I had no idea where I was going to go, and I was walking there along the bus line, and I seen a bus to Boston. I said, "What the hell?" I had $1,000 on me, and $1,000 in 1980 was a lot of money.
Sure.
And then I went up there. I stayed at I went to Cambridge and stayed there at the YMCA. Went down to the combat zone, and I got work right away. You know.
Wow.
But
how old were you?
At that time I was 19 and 20 when I was in the combat zone. In Times Square, I was 17 and 18.
Wow, that's young, man. You were so young and dumb, man.
Dude,
and and Lee, you're 60, so you're 5 years older than me. Wow, man.
And you
were down there, man.
Dude. Let me tell you something.
Prime time.
I used to see young kids like me down in Times Square.
Oh,
and the difference,
abused, I'm sure. Yeah.
The difference between me and them was I always worked. They basically went to the streets to work. I remember I would see these beautiful girls get off the bus at the Port Authority. You would have your pimps go suck them in, and you'd see them 2 months later. They'd be all strung out. They would look like death. I mean, that's how long it took for them to be destroyed.
Well, especially when the crack hit, forget it. They give them a little crack, that shit destroyed these people.
And even before the crack, though, I mean, these
pimps,
these pimps that were down there, they would tell these girls be coming from like Ohio or upstate New York, and they would say, "Oh, I'll give you a place to live." They would have a girl with them, make the girl feel comfortable. Then they shoot her up with drugs, and they'll put her out in the street, just like that. That's how they did it.
Yeah, Lee, it was crazy, man. I remember as a kid seeing the pimps, man. It was like out of the movies, man. It was fucking wild.
And they
back
weren't
in
nice.
The heyday. They were fucking evil to those poor women, bro. And those fucking girls were no joke too.
No, and
they
to be a pimp,
try and rob you and go through your you got the fucking young.
Oh, I could tell you some stories.
And
I could tell you some stories.
They would go right in your pocket. You wouldn't even feel it. You know what I mean? They'd fucking rob fucking people. They make like they were touching your dick, and they go through your pockets. You wouldn't even know about it. Oh man, it was crazy back then, bro.
I got taken when I was 17 years old, real bad, but I learned from it. I learned from it, and it's that simple. I was just a young guy and didn't know any better, and the fact of the matter that I survived there for those years and survived is incredible, because I seen all these other people young my age coming through, and very few of them survived. And a lot of it's luck too, surviving. Yeah.
Yeah, good thing that you worked, because wow, that was look, they the Manhattan Dream. These young girls think they're going to be actresses or just runaways, and they would just prey upon the Penn Station and down over there. They would just prey upon these poor young people.
Yeah,
that would be
the Port Authority was where really the Port Authority.
The Port Authority. That's what I mean. Port Authority. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
James Proctor says, you were fearly. Thanks for getting Paul's statement out. Paul will definitely be on after 8/8. He knows you and Danny will be straight up. James, thanks for helping me get that. And you are absolutely right. I'll be fair to him and let him get his story out, because there's always two sides to every story, James. And that's what we do here in this channel.
That's it.
I'm 100% Italian, but we respected a lot of Irish guys. They were crazy and tough as nails. Some were better friends to me. Oh, of course. You know what used to drive Irish fathers and Italian dads crazy when they would hook up? Like an Italian family would meet like an Italian girl would meet an Irish guy, or an Irish guy would meet an Italian girl. Then the family started mixing up. And you know, back then in the 80s, Italian fathers didn't want their daughters going with anybody but Italians.
Sure. They want to keep it clean. But plus, the Italians got a lot from us Irish, bro. Us Irish became cops and spoke the language. They came to this country. They didn't speak the language, so they had a tougher time. But, you know, they found other ways.
Tony B, of course, but they were their own group. They did their own thing. Still a force to be reckoned with. Carmine, there's nothing to investigate. Everyone knows Danny's background. Everybody knows where he lives. Everybody knows his glass business. Don't waste your time, trolls. Carmen, you're exactly right. Here's what you know about Danny Trio. He did time in prison for murder. He got out and got shot and almost died. He got his life together, owns a business and 2 homes, and has raised his son to be a good man. So if the trolls are looking into that, I got one thing to say to them. Fuck you.
Yeah, hell yeah. He's living the dream, man.
Lee, when I said earlier, I think Bobby Luisi is sincere, I was talking about his religious beliefs, not anything pertaining to Paul Tanso. No, Black and yes, I understand you're entitled to whatever you want to say. I'm not taking an opinion one side or one way or another. Lee, that's what I'm saying. You told his story with Bobby, not a statement by Paul. Joey, I don't get what you're saying. I mean, is this maybe Bobby? I don't know. Joey, you seem very upset that someone said something about Bobby. You know how many times people on here say shit about me? It's life.
That's it, man.
So
Lee, you ever have any run-ins with Bobby? Like you ever like try and interview him or anything, or did you want to back in the day? Or Bobby.
I interviewed him.
Oh, you did interview.
I got a video out of him. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I've interviewed everybody, my man.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You did a lot. You really did a lot. But
every damn one of them.
How long?
I got hell for interviewing some people.
Yeah, well, you got to do. Listen, you're a journalist, man. You're not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? You got to give, both sides. If you want to be successful in this, this ain't the street. Come on, man.
Oh, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. I mean, if you want to get on, if you want people to stay on this and watch you, you got to give them good content. Otherwise you're going to be like the other shows where you're lucky if you get 100 people on your show.
Sure,
we have bigger goals.
Yeah, you hold. What do you hold? A couple of hundred in the chat on a regular, right?
Usually 200 to 300. Right now we're at 164, but I'm guessing there's probably a couple. It's 7 o'clock, so there's probably a couple other shows on.
Prime time, right?
Yeah. See, that's why I like to come on 6. That half hour means a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jane Creek, how you doing, Jane? Lee, you should review mob movies, TV shows, books. Yeah, Jane Creek, people don't really dig that, That's like if Michael Franzese could do that because he has a huge base already following him. I want to talk about Henry Hill. I want to do a show on Henry Hill, who is the biggest con job of all time.
Yeah, you don't hear really anybody, of course he's, Goodfellas, but really you don't hear you guys doing anything on him, man.
We're thinking about it, but Henry Hill was a scam artist. He didn't
forget it, man.
He never was near Paul Vario.
Yeah, he was worse than A-Light, like with the lies,
A-Light looks like the Godfather compared to Henry Hill. And that's the thing. Henry Hill was a joke. He was he talks about like you'll see in Goodfellas that Henry Hill was really tight with Tommy. That's not true.
I know.
They didn't have that bond of friendship. Like in Goodfellas, they had Joe Pesci played Tommy DeSimone. Tommy DeSimone was 6'2" in real life, and he was all muscle. He was a big man, and he was a vicious killer, and that's why he died. Tommy DeSimone is an interesting story too, because years later they're saying that John Gotti wanted him dead because Tommy DeSimone killed 2 John Gotti guys, and one of them being Billy Batts. And a lot of people say that when he was brought to be made, it was John Gotti that shot him in the head. So, you know.
Oh, wow. Really?
That's the story that you hear now late from informants. That John, matter of fact, they said that he went into the room and he seen John Gotti. He didn't think nothing of it. And he said, "Hey, John, what are you doing here?" And he goes, "No, I'm here for you." And then he sat down and John Gotti put a gun to his head, pulled the trigger and walked out and got revenge for the. Those were two soldiers that were from John Gotti's crew. You know, wow. Billy Batts just got out of prison, and he was very close to John Gotti. They were very good friends. And John Gotti went to Paul Vario and said, "I want to kill this guy." You know, but they wouldn't let him do it. And then finally, from what they're saying, Tommy DeSimone was so out of control that they finally gave Gotti the okay to have him killed.
To do it, yeah.
Yeah. So. But they say he barely knew Henry Hill. You're talking a guy, the Irish gangster, Burke. A guy like that would never deal with a scumbag like Henry Hill.
I wouldn't think so.
The Italians were scared of Burke. The Italians wouldn't mess with Burke. That's how badass Burke was. You know, the Italians treated him like he was one of their own.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
he was like a Joe Watts type, right?
Probably tougher. Joe Watts.
Yeah.
Joe Watts.
He was respected. That he wasn't Italian, but he was just as respected.
And he made so much money for them.
I'm sure he did.
Burks made
sure
them.
He did.
Paul Vario loved them because he always gave Paul Vario a very big envelope and he knew that's all the bosses cared about was that envelope.
Sure.
No one's going to kill. It's going to kill Jimmy Burke if he's giving Paul Vario big envelopes.
Yeah.
Just fascinating.
Lee, I'm going to bounce off, man. Thanks for putting me on, man.
No problem. You take care of yourself.
To chat with you, buddy.
Okay, you have a nice one.
Okay, Lee. Take care, buddy. Bye.
Okay, people. Let me read some of your comments before we take off here. Lee, your stolen valor buddy, Chicago Maggot, is back. Well, you know. I wish him the best. If he says something about me, I'm going to ignore him because why should I waste my time with him? He's a small show. It's not worth it. Let him say whatever they want to say. I only wish him the best on his show. But if he does what he did last time, they'll take him down again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. Xavier, you are right. People tell stories, but when it comes to Boston, I can tell you from the first person view, I grew up in the North End and knew every major player. The children were my friends. Been over, same here, tires me out, but I don't like the snow, so I'll take it. Yeah, the heat does tire you out. Mustache Pete, how you doing, my man? What's up? What's up, everybody in the chat? Appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. We're going to do a show tomorrow night too, people. We're going to do back-to-back shows. Tomorrow, Danny's going to be here, God willing. Danny's going to be here, and we're going to do another interesting show. Prime time Friday night, you will see Danny and I on here. I doubt Skinny Joe would let Bobby pay for his button. He would have had a bigger family. Let me tell you something, Xavier. When it comes to money, a lot of people bought their buttons, and a lot of guys that you didn't think. If somebody comes and offers you $50,000 for a button, you're going to give them a button, especially if you can hide that cash. Yeah, he died a few years ago. But even his wife said he was a liar about everything. I definitely sub to your page. I'm a young kid, 26, but I know a lot more about people than people realize. Xavier. Okay, Xavier. If you come here and you want to talk and bullshit with people, you're more than welcome, man. Just don't be disrespectful, dude. If it weren't for Henry Hill becoming a rat and having a movie Goodfellas made about him, nobody would have ever heard about him. Just like A-Light and Borello. Gene Borello. I almost thought Bobby Borello. I don't want to put Bobby Borello's name next to those. Lee, you are telling Paul's story, so Danny can't get Bobby's much equipment back, but I'm okay. Danny's mic is really annoying. Just keep coming back. That's it. people accept as ignoring night. I've been on an hour and a half, people. We were going to cancel tonight's show. We kept a nice group in here. And we'll be on tomorrow night. Danny and I will figure what kind of show we're going to be together. And we're going to be here. Anybody that supported the show tonight financially, thank you so much. If I missed your anything in the chat, I apologize. Jesse Roth, how you doing? Thank you. Xavier Jones, hope to see you next show, brother. Just behave. That's it. We're not the bad people you think we are, Xavier. Take care, everybody. Have a nice one.